You are about to opt in to Monerotopia, a show for the Monero community where all are welcome to join. From noob to maxi, no matter what bags you hold. Just sit back and relax to the sweet sounds of Monero's latest progress. Or if you're feeling inspired, join us on stage. Remember, the only thing that can stop Monero is a false belief that it can be stopped. And if you want to win the revolution faster, we recommend you remove your XMR from all custodial exchanges immediately. Warning, voting accidents are common around here. Don't forget to properly secure your private keys. Monerotopia starts now. Hello.
What is that? Is that
How
mine?
do you do? Yeah, I think that's yours. How's
All
it going?
right.
Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday.
Whew.
I think it's been a pretty hectic week, but that's how it is
We're
every
just
week. My
getting
friends.
started.
Getting started.
We are in the trenches, guys. Fully in the trenches.
Fully.
DDoS attacks was the least of
Last
our problems.
week was pretty hectic. It's been a crazy week, nonstop. Organizing, making sure all the pieces are coming together, and all that fun stuff. So here we are.
I'm
What are you
sorry.
staring?
I'm distracted.
Of course, you're always distracted. What is it about? What are you
Um.
looking at?
All right. So
I don't know. He has a lot to say.
nobody
This morning
likes
has
to
been
hear
hectic.
the Monero drama, right? Or I mean, I don't know. I feel like people do like hearing.
Yeah,
it.
some people do.
Like,
Some people don't. You know, you don't have to go into detail and talk about it for hours. But if you would like to vent a
I
little,
think it's more of a me problem.
It is a
I don't
you
want to
problem, maybe.
blame. You know, like
I think it is
it
kind of
just
a little bit.
I don't know. Like, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's.
I feel like we just get these weird moments where people just decide to like lash out on us, right? And it just feels.
Well, no, I think that's in every space. Like some people don't realize how much work goes into it because we just kind of release content for free.
So
we do everything
you don't
for
even
free.
know.
We like to help people. Like we just want to share all our information with everyone, but people kind of either like take advantage or complain. The complaining gets to me because it's kind of like we do so much, we give you so much, and like the littlest things, it's like they just blow it up, and it's a little frustrating. But it's only a tiny amount of people
working hard in different ways in Monero, and
we have a lot of people
the
helping
devs
us
and
out.
all them, like I've always said they're god level, right? 100 hours of our time is like 30 seconds of theirs, right? Like we don't deny that, but we serve our own little role here, helping get Monero. I mean, we're doing a kick-ass job of this conference, guys. It's gonna be freaking.
I think so. I'm excited.
It's gonna be freaking. But what annoyed me is, so we wrote up a press release. It's like nothing special, It was like I had like ChatGPT help me with it, and we quickly did it. And like, I don't think people realize how big when we say we're busy, like. We don't have time to.
Well, because the thing is also we're
so I posted.
People, so you're aware we're
also
balancing day jobs.
Yeah, that's the real. It's the balance and family
and family life.
And we're doing this nonstop, like day, night, morning. We're on the phone when we're driving into work. We're talking to each other. Like it's nonstop. But anyway, I dropped the press release into the Monero like chat forums. On Element. So like there's one of them it's called Monero events, right? So you would think that would be a place where you'd go to when you're throwing a Monero event to maybe get the word out on the event, right? It's called Monero events. It's the community forum for Monero events. And so I posted the press release in there. And somebody responded, they needed it in a different format or whatever, because it was just a PDF. And I was like, hey, we're super busy. And I was like, apologize. Like, I think I started off with like apologies. I could read the thing like, yes, like basically, apologies. We're just very busy. Here's the PDF. You could just, copy the words off of it and do what you need with it. But yeah, we don't have time. And then I got attacked for that.
Oh, that's what happened this morning? I had no idea.
Like, Offrin's like, well, why? Well, like, you came in here and you spammed the room with like throwing a press release for an event, for one of the biggest Monero events of the year in a room called Monero events is spamming? Really, dude? What's the point of the room if you can't go in there when you're trying to build a community event for the community? Like, I don't get it. And I guess it's just his. I mean, I don't know. He's been on the show. I like the guy. It's just his thing. I guess I don't. I'm not picking up his jive, but it's just things like that. It's very
It's frustrating.
Very frustrating. Very frustrating. And then I'm being criticized by him for not spending enough time in these forums. Well, this is exactly why I don't want to spend time in these forums. It just wasted my an hour of my morning having an argument, which I don't even understand what his beef is. And then like the issue is because I'm not spending enough time in the forums on there. So
we got a lot going on, my friend.
I wish I had the time. Like, I don't know. We got to pick and choose. I mean, there's a lot that gets done in those forums, but I don't think that's we're out doing other stuff, right? We're fighting a different front. We're out with the people in Twitterland. We're out at the libertarian events. We're kind of like, a public facing portion of Monero where we're trying to grow it beyond those that already know Monero. And so that's why we're not just hanging out in the Monero chat rooms all the time. And we're running how many Telegram chats do we have?
I don't even want to it's I don't know. I got maxed out.
I barely respond to text messages from my family, let alone have time to hang out in the, And do I go on Twitter and post stuff? Yes, because that's, part of the business. We're trying to get the word out. So it's like, he's basically suggesting like spending too much time on Twitter and not enough time in the Monero chats.
Well, after the conference, I'm sure you will spend time in it.
It's just okay. Things like that in these moments when we're as stressed as stress can be.
Yeah.
And then you just get these little like, people just like
they're little jabs.
It's like you're at the end of the marathon and some people are, some people are handing out water. Did you ever see that Seinfeld?
No.
And Kramer accidentally hands out like hot coffee to the marathon.
Goodness.
It's like that. It's like we're last leg on the mile and somebody hands out and like, oh, we're super thirsty. Instead of giving us water, they give us hot coffee. We throw it in our face and we get burnt and we're super thirsty and we just got a mile left of the marathon. Like, come on, give us a break. Right?
Please give us, of course, 1,000%. But I try to just walk away from it because I'm like, you know what? These people just like to complain. So, I mean, you can't change people. So it is what it is. But then we get a lot of love and support.
Oh my God. So don't get me. Yeah, that's why I hate, because I don't want to be negative, considering all
negative Nelly over
how amazing the event is coming along. And then
we're very excited.
Just all the support we get along the way. And yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, I take this stuff seriously because we're perfectionists about it. We want to do a good job. So we get intense, and then we end up getting intense also with people that are basically volunteering, right? Like that are helping us. I mean, we're tipping them, paying them, but still like they're putting in way more work and passion.
I know. And honestly,
and so, but in moments we're busy. I do think sometimes I come across like,
do you? I have no idea.
Especially considering the level of help that they're giving us. So apologies for that. But it's really just being caught in the moment here.
We're just super excited about this event.
Greatly appreciate all the help we're getting from everybody. So,
yes. Yeah. Thank you to everyone and those that are going to help us at the conference itself. So again, if you're going to the conference and you want to help us out, please email us and, we'll reimburse you for your ticket if you bought it already for the help for the weekend, because the more the merrier. Please, anyone that's coming down and just wants to help us out, please reach out and we'll coordinate with you to see how you can help us out, because there's a lot to do.
Did you get that email I sent you?
I don't know. You send me many emails.
No, just now.
Yes, I got it here, but I wanted to go through the website. But I guess
I want you to put that up too. This is just because this is just kind of relates.
Okay,
to the drama.
Here we go. Share this tab instead.
So apparently we missed this story, but somebody like a couple of weeks ago put up a CCS proposal looking to advertise Monero in Mexico City before Monerotopia.
Oh, okay.
This person didn't reach out to us at all. And then they asked. I mean, they wanted a lot. They
What?
wanted like.
Are you kidding me? What is this?
They wanted to get flown in a trip to Mexico, almost 8 Monero, hotel expenses, 10 Monero,
We weren't even.
advertising and design printing, 5 Monero. I mean, we would do this probably with somebody who's already in Mexico City, and we were looking for somebody. We threw a whole event. Sunita went down there. We threw a meetup, and part of that meetup was to find somebody that would go out and put these posters up for us. Which should we have? Like, right? We met a bunch of locals. They'll be coming to the event. But we never got to the point where they ran out and hung up posters for us, and we were going to pay them. Just, I don't know, whatever. We just.
But this is interesting. I didn't see this.
But somebody like posted to do this, to do a CCS proposal, and they wanted 32 minutes, which is a lot.
Who are you?
Well, here's the kicker, though. Here's where, it's.
Shouldn't they be asking?
Well, they should, but if you read the proposal, if you go to the full proposal, somebody's like, why don't you ask them? And they're basically like, Tumen doesn't like me, and that's why I didn't ask.
Oh my god.
So like they're throwing us under the bus. And like even in their proposal, it's like, well, it's not about Monerotopia. Like it's somebody who doesn't like us, but wants to I don't get it. I don't understand.
That's hilarious. I didn't even see this.
It takes all types, I guess.
Oh my goodness.
So like that was the thing they're throwing at me in this room too. They're like,
and you're like, what are you talking about?
Did you know somebody put up a CCS proposal for Monerotopia, but it's because they didn't want to help you that they came to us.
But like, what the heck?
And like you should have known that. Well, like and they're saying you should have known. Like I didn't know. I missed it. So you should have reached out to me, guys. It's like a two-way street.
Me, like if you don't want to
we're the most public people out there. Like, so if you're in these chat forums and you're like, they should know about this. Well, why don't you just tell us?
See here. If Monerotopia wants to support me, welcome it. But I'm not doing it for them.
No, but go down. It gets worse.
That's hilarious.
So then somebody was like,
oh my god, I didn't read this.
Yeah,
As an apology. Wait, I would like to avoid proposers sending private to those who give. Where? What? Read? I mean, I'm reading it. Well, I'm not signed in to GitHub here, right here on this computer.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, if Monero wants to support me, I welcome it, but I'm not doing it for them. Tumen also doesn't like me.
So I have nothing with Monero. What?
Like, who are you?
I have no at first.
There's like a very small amount of people that I don't like in the Monero community because I love the project so much that if I see that somebody is doing something for it, even if I don't like them, I like them, right? Because I want them I support them, right? Because they're helping the project. So the people that I actually don't like in Monero, it's like zero. I mean, unless it's what's his name, freaking the guy who attacked us last year. Ericoni? Is it Ericoni? Is that? I mean, that's probably who it is. Because he wants to be flown in. But even him, I would still consider supporting you to go do this. I would. And even him, I like my hate, no hate. Hate's a strong word. Hate is a strong word. My dislike because of the attacks, I always qualify with, but he's, he works on Monero and he's done a lot. Although I don't know if he's done more harm than good given the way he comes out. But he's tried, Yeah,
he's tried.
I mean, he was a big part of the Havino project, and now I guess he's not part of it. So obviously I was a big supporter of that project, still am, which they'll be one of the talks. Woodzer is coming.
Yes. That should be exciting.
He's the one that's running the show for Havino, and they're making progress. They're going to be launching soon. So yeah, that's my rant.
That's your rant.
Feels so good.
Does it feel good?
See, this is my format. My format isn't being on the chat forums. It's just not. That's not my medium.
Okay, I think you're good.
No, because this has to be said too. Like it takes a certain type of personality to sit in the chat forums all day. I don't know. I'm not really built for that.
It's tough. But anyways, moving on from your rant, just a quick, plug here for the conference itself. For those that are coming, we're super, 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 super excited to be meeting all of you because it's going to be a lot of people. I'm looking forward to meeting everyone. I really am. It's going to be so much fun. The check-in starts at 3 p.m. To 5 p.m. is like the welcome party. We're just going to hang out there, chill for a bit. And then the conference itself is actually going to start at 5 p.m. And which I don't know what this is for, but 5 p.m. and we're gonna have a few talks, and then the conference continues Saturday and Sunday. So looking forward to seeing you guys all there. If you can't show up in person, we'll miss you, but you can also join us virtually. We have the virtual tickets right here. You can purchase it here. You can, be present without actually being present. So check that out if you're interested.
We've also reopened the VIP.
Yeah,
tickets.
which they're already like selling out soon. So we're probably going to be closing it out like probably end of this weekend because I think we've also reached the max. So yeah, get your VIP tickets today. If you want to upgrade, just email me because that's also an option if you have done that. But yeah, this is your last chance today, and probably tomorrow I'll be closing it out because we don't want it to be like an overwhelming amount of people in this place. So get those today if you haven't. And yeah, just check out all the speakers. We have a huge, awesome lineup.
Jam packed.
We have, privacy projects.
It's gonna be awesome.
The workshop professors, please, RSVP for the advanced workshop if you haven't yet. Email Chill. Website's on the. Your email's on the website. And yeah, just go check it out. And I think that's really it.
Once again, if anybody wants to
help,
well, help us too. Please. Obviously, at the conference, right? Email us, Monerotopia@protonmail.com, and we'll reimburse your ticket if you want to be a volunteer. But also, if you just want to help us in these final moments remotely, just spread the word. Spread the word, get people, so we'll get more people to buy virtual conference tickets. All the content will eventually be released for free, right? We've always said that. Anything we do, we put all our content out there. That's what we're all about. It's about spreading the information. But we're using this as a revenue stream for the conference. So if you want to participate live, hear it live, participate in the Q&A live, we're gonna have it set up that way so you could, essentially jump on stage like you can do here. You can participate in the Q&A. You can participate in the chat room that day. For that, we're charging, $100, which I still think is a good value. We did it last year and it worked out very well. We got a bunch of people, and we get people beyond the typical Monero community too, because where we're pushing it, we have the Crypto Vigilante that helped us with it last year, and they're helping us again this year to get the word out. So it's cool. We bring in new people to Monero that want to learn about it that weren't able to come down there. But yeah, in keeping with our values here, obviously all the content eventually will get posted for free. So if you don't want to attend the virtual conference, you can wait for that.
And with that, I think that's really it.
That's really it.
Go to Monerotopia.com to get your ticket in person or the virtual, or email us to just say hello if you'd like to. Also,
no, don't do that. Do not do that.
Get like
we won't respond. We're not going to respond to you.
They all get criticized. I'm kidding.
Why aren't you responding?
Okay. All right. I guess let's move on to the price report. Let's do that. The Monerotopia Price Report segment is sponsored by Local Monero. Avoid using KYC exchanges. Buy and sell Monero directly for fiat, peer-to-peer. Aloha, buddy.
Good morning.
Good morning, my friend. How are you?
What's going on, man?
I'm great. Hey, congratulations on all the haters and the coattail riders, man. We've made it.
We've made it.
Yes.
Hey, looking at my
I see we have.
You get so hurt.
we have Arctic waiting for us. So Arctic, we'll definitely get you up here at some point. We have to run through the price report, a couple other things. But honored to have you stopping by today.
Yeah.
Awesome. Arctic is the man.
Yes.
So
yeah, man.
So
we're super excited to hang out with you.
I know, excited to meet you.
Me too.
Less than a week.
Yeah,
well, we met him I met him at last Monerotopia.
Oh my God, that's right. I don't know some of it. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we didn't really get to hang out much, just for I don't know, a few minutes here, a few minutes there.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I do remember you.
You gave me some medical advice on my ankle, and that was about
Did
I? Yeah, I was asking.
Sounds kind of like me.
We're talking
unqualified medical advice, something about voodoo flossing, probably.
Buying stem cells on the black market.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, you're in Mexico. Like stem cells are pretty cheap. For like $2,500, you can get injected in that ankle, and within a few months, it'll be surprisingly better.
See, there you go.
Look at oh god.
Have you
give
ever
him
done that?
ideas.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
really?
Yeah, I've actually had a few joints injected. Like for example, I had my wrist kind of messed up when I started boxing a few years ago, but I didn't really do anything with it. I also had kind of a knee problem, cartilage problem from a snowboarding accident years ago. So I did a little experiment where I injected my knee, but not my wrist. And within a few months, my knee was great, but my wrist was still kind of messed up for I gave it like 15 months. And eventually I said, all right, let me go get some stem cells and see if that fixes it. Wouldn't you know, within 2 or 3 months, it was like good as new.
Holy shit. I
Wow.
gotta go. I mean, and this is, I wish I listened.
I mean, if it's been a year, if it's been a year,
No,
you still have.
I got operated on, man. I had the whole operation. I was in
Oh,
crutches
that's
for
right,
a
that's
month.
right.
Like I couldn't walk. I mean, I'm back, but yeah, I guess I should have fixed. I also have a elbow issue, so maybe I will experiment.
Oh my god.
I really want to see if this,
Doug
if
is
this
falling
works.
apart, guys. I mean, I think we both are.
I mean, it happens. We go hard.
Yeah, I mean, I've even got MRI images on my knee that show that there was significant improvement.
Oh, well, nice.
That's awesome. Shit.
And it wasn't like a huge, it wasn't like a big ACL tear or anything like that. It was just a meniscus thing from years ago.
Yeah, I mean, my ankle, without getting into the details, but in the ankle joint, I had a piece of cartilage that was basically chipped off that was missing. So the two bones were hitting each other. But yeah, man, take it away. We digress. Take it away.
Take it away.
Okay, so if you're on the spaces, I'd recommend that you tune into YouTube. Make sure you select the 1080p so that these charts will make some sense. Also, I apologize for whatever reason my microphone is having problems. I think I updated my system like a week ago and I never checked my mic. So anyways, I'm on my Bluetooth if I sound a little bit tinny today.
No, it's
so okay, here's Monero USD. We've got our final boss line. It's like we thought he was dead and then he keeps like rising from the dead. I don't know. If we could just finish him, that would be nice. But anyways, it seems like we're kind of just flirting our way down with this line here. One thing that I thought was kind of interesting is that if you take this line, you can kind of, oops, that's not that line. You can kind of drag it up and you'll notice it's like somehow magically it's just sitting there like at a slight level higher. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but somehow I have a feeling like that kind of thing is sometimes on purpose, especially considering how many resistances all of the other coins or most of the other coins, or maybe I should just say Bitcoin and Ethereum, have broken. But at any rate, I mean, it doesn't look bad, right? Things still look, pretty okay-ish. And in light of the rest of the money, I mean, this still should be fine. We had the Monet run. I've been trying to figure out how to say that word cooler, like Monet run. We had the Monet run, and that, I guess that kind of gave us a little bit of positive price pressure, but you'll notice like the day after things just tanked. So I do wonder if, like we had talked about how it looks like Binance and KuCoin had these like huge divergences where they acquired a bunch of Monero. I do wonder if potentially they had done that in anticipation of the money run, just to try and like make sure that they didn't look bad like they did last year. And then maybe they sold some of that off right the day after the run was over. But at any rate, like, I mean, what was that? It wasn't really, I guess, 8%. And I think the rest of the market also kind of dropped there as well. So really, I mean, everything looks fine with Monero USD price. I'm not too concerned about it. We've got Z-scores are still kind of positively trending here. So overall, that would kind of paint a picture of at least mildly positive action. And again, I think it's possible we're still contending with the dark webs kind of being shut down and Tor being DDoSed and a whole bunch of stuff like that. So there's probably this component of demand that's not really present that was present for a long time. Last night we just ticked above 20,000 transactions per day. We've kind of, ever since the fork last year, the upgrade, we've kind of been hiding out just below 20K on the transaction counts. So probably someone smarter, some dev guy out there could explain, exactly why that's taking so long, but maybe it has something to do with bots. Maybe it has something to do with botnets and CPU mining, or maybe that I'm totally out to lunch on that guess. But at any rate, we could also take a look at Monero versus Bitcoin. And we also have positive Z-scores on this guy as well. I'm not entirely convinced that this chart is ready to really break out and go to the upside. If we look, let's go to the longer time view for a quick second. So if we kind of draw the lifetime uptrend here, you know, we had our triangle, we broke the triangle. We're kind of back down here at this support level. And like I said, as long as the markets in general continue to be positive, I kind of expect to have to play in this range for a while. That's just kind of the nature of the thing. So in some ways, because of that fundamental dynamic, I'm not like, I don't even care necessarily that we had this this falling wedge and then we broke that. It's kind of like that. The technicals might not matter quite as much as the fundamentals when there's leverage and hype going into the rest of the crypto market, or at least Bitcoin and Ethereum is what it seems like for now. There's a few other coins here that are selectively kind of pumping here and there. But that does kind of tell you about the liquidity situation of the market in general. There's probably not that much liquidity to go around. They're focusing on Bitcoin. They're focusing on Ethereum. And we'll talk about ETH BTC, and I think it's important to cover that because there's dynamics happening in the crypto market I've been talking about for a while. The evidence of them is continuing to show up. We'll get to that. So anyways, we broke this we broke this falling wedge with momentum and then kind of got stopped out and fell back down here into the wedge. I really don't have any strong opinions on where this goes. This is probably something that could really just trend sideways, you know, maybe do this and maybe it doesn't really matter, kind of dip down, maybe bump up, who knows, right? I'm trading the ratio right here. I wouldn't have any good advice for anyone doing that. I would just say be wary because it is possible there could be more downside, but that's not too much more downside. Like hypothetically, that could be 10%, or sorry, not 10%. Looks like from where we're at, almost 10%, right? Maybe 8, 9%. So, you know, we'll just have to see, play that one by ear. We can also look at XMR versus ETH, and we've kind of had this downward channel ever since we broke out of our sort of bull market that happened against the rest of crypto. We were in this upwards channel that kind of rolled over, and then we broke that down, and it's like, all right, we're going down from here. Kind of like the 0.05 level would be pretty good to think that we couldn't go any lower. But there's no reason that that things couldn't just turn around a little bit right here as well. Again, kind of same story when it's XMR versus ETH versus XMR versus BTC at this moment. I would like to try and say that there's some kind of divergence happening right there, but again, the fundamentals probably matter a little bit more than the technicals right here in terms of just how the markets are unfolding at the moment. Because it's like XMR, this chart is basically XMR USD divided by ETH USD. So if XMR USD is kind of like holding its own and it's flat and they're doing fractional reserve and they don't really want XMR to break out, but there's still demand, it's like, okay, it'll kind of like do this choppy thing and it'll, you know, maybe it won't be like going up crazy bullish like the rest of the market, but then with ETH or Bitcoin, they're just pushing leverage into it. The stock market's up, there's some free money flowing, et cetera, right? And then XMR is not going to get that. Well, it's kind of like, it kind of doesn't matter necessarily what the ratio is and what the technicals on the ratio say when those fundamentals are playing out. So anyways, we're kind of in this downward channel still. This thing looks like it might want to break out. I wouldn't necessarily say, oh my God, that's going to be, you know, an amazing restart of the bull market. But, you know, I mean, you don't know, like we could easily make some kind of bounce to the upside. One thing that does happen is that you'll see suppression, you'll see like, and this happens with gold too. This is a very common thing. In fact, I see so many similarities when I look at gold and I look at Monero. You see these breakouts and then the breakout fails and then it kind of like chops sideways and then eventually it goes up some more. And then randomly it'll just bust out like way high and then it'll, you know, they'll kind of cap it. It's like there's real demand. So they have to let that express at some points, but they can kind of control when it does express. One little fun thing I wanted to do, I wanted to revisit our predictions here. Not predictions, but, you know, I guess that's what they were. Yeah, predictions. Maybe our hopes and dreams. So here's our hopes and dreams. I only had 200 as my hope and dream. Doug, you were up here at 240 or 239 technically.
Yeah, exactly on track for that right now.
Yeah, we're gonna need quite the explosion of growth here this week. At least 30%, maybe
Okay.
up to 50%.
Okay.
I don't know.
Not giving up yet. Look at Balazs, right? He was Bitcoin at $1 million in 90 days. What has he got? Like 2 days left, or did we already?
Is it really?
Yeah, remember that?
Well,
guy?
if we could get him, we should do a CSS to get him to say Monero to 1,000. You know, it's much more realistic.
Yeah, no, he's a Zcash guy for some reason.
Yeah.
Questionable.
Suspicious. Okay, so now you also, I remember you said that you wanted to take a look at the M2 SL. So I prepared, I prepared a few things. All right, so the M2 money supply, this chart is kind of crowded because of all this extra stuff here, which we'll take a look at in a minute. But this is the M2 money supply, currently at about $20.8 trillion. This is a very long-term chart. This is a monthly chart. Actually, let's start with the tweet. Okay, so Nick Gerley, I don't know who he is. Blue check mark. I don't know if that's an $8 check mark or a 63.7 thousand. No, that's not. That's not native blue check mark. That's purchased blue check mark. But at any rate, so we're looking at the M2 money supply growth year over year. So this is a percentage, right? So pretty much since basically since the Great Depression, we have had positive M2 growth year over year. So 2022, the year closing 2022 was like the first time we actually had negative growth, where the M2 supply shrank. And it really wasn't that much. So let's take a look. Actually, let's go to the yearly chart here. Okay, so we're on the yearly. Okay, so in between these lines here, that's how much the M2 money supply went down, which was about 0.95%. This is showing 2%. I don't know, that maybe there's some slight difference in the way he does, like his source or something. Could be that. But at any rate, yeah, so we're saying, okay, could this be a sign of a big depression, a big market crash? I say, yeah, potentially. But I also say the market can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. So if you're trying to short this market, because a lot of people out there on Twitter and different social media have been saying, look at all these bad signs, the market's going to crash, like it's terrible. And then the market just keeps going up. So it's like, if you've tried to short that at any point here, you're probably not doing so good. Unless you were really good at closing your shorts, scalping those trades, because there has been plenty of opportunity to do that too. Some guys have talked a lot about shorting, but they're also short-term traders, so if you shorted this market almost at any point, as long as you closed your trade when the crashes happened, you would probably be in profit just from shorting. So anyways, the thing is that let's go back to the monthly here. The thing is that, oh, actually, sorry. I take that back. Go back to the yearly. Okay, so for right now, for the moment, it's showing that we're down 4%, but there's still there's technically 8 more months to go for the rest of the year. But really, as far as this indicator or this chart is concerned, we don't have the data from April 1st yet. This is just data from March 1st that came out over the past week. So there's really 9 more months of data to be seen before we can say that this year is actually going to close, down here at this -4%. The M2 could start climbing up. Even let's suppose there's some big market crash or some threat of a crash happening in September, October, and then the Fed comes and intervenes and said, okay, we're just kidding, we'll print some M2 and save you guys. Well, then we could see that come right back here to the 0 point, and that would really not be too historically out of trend. This little point down here is still a bit out of trend. There is risk in this market. I do think the risk in the market is growing. I am seeing some little subtle signs playing out here, and we'll cover those in just a second. But anyways, the thing that I wanted to mention particularly is that we still have 8 to 9 months of the year left for this to maybe climb higher. The Fed is saying they don't want to do that, but if push comes to shove and there's systemic risk in the system, they'll save the system every time. So the other thing I wanted to show you guys on this is I wanted to pull up the M2 for other nations. And so right now we're still on the annual, we're still on the yearly. So you can see this is China in orange, Europe in blue, Japan is in yellow, and we've got India and Russia in the kind of purple colors. So basically we've got China, India, Russia have all been increasing their M2 money supply for the past year, whereas Japan and the Eurozone have kind of just flattened out. They're slightly down for this year, but they were actually up for all of 2022. So the dollar is actually uniquely going down right here for this year, which is kind of an indication of the potential for the Dixie to start performing again. We'll talk about that in a second. If I'm getting too long, just let me know, guys. I could rattle on all day about this stuff. So
no, finish your thoughts.
Cool. So okay, so on the bottom here is the percent change from the previous month. So this chart is more akin to this chart right here, where they're looking at it as a percentage. So overall, you got, again, China in red, Japan in yellow. Sorry, these colors are actually slightly different. That's just me being schizophrenic or whatever. So China's in red, they're still going up. The US is in white, still going down month over month. And then Eurozone in blue and Japan in yellow. So overall, Eurozone and Japan are kind of flat, as we talked about for this year. They've been slightly down. So anyways, that's what the M2 situation looks like. We can go to the Fed's balance sheet. We saw another drop. So this is where we were last week, and this is where we were after this week. The Fed's balance sheet continues to drop. There's another little signal. Oops, there we go. Another little signal is the repurchase agreements. This thing has been, this is like a crash indicator to me, the risk of crash. So we saw it spike up here in 2008. It spiked up again in 2020. The thing is, it spikes up and it stays high. This happened again with the near-miss banking crisis, whatever, SVB, Silicon Valley, and Signature, and all the others, whatever. It spiked up for just a brief moment, and this is basically banks taking kind of emergency loans from the Federal Reserve. And so I saw that spike up. I said, okay, that could be bad. I'm going to keep an eye on that. I didn't want to really throw that at you guys just yet. It came back down. This would be a counterpoint against systemic risk because that came back down. I'm also looking at the single family home prices for the US. And in January, it usually ticks up, but April, like every single April, it almost always ticks up significantly. Like this sawtooth, this is April 1st. Now, we don't have the data from April 1st, but this right here, I expect this to sawtooth back up. If it doesn't, that's a pretty negative sign. That's really, that would be a bad sign. So I kind of look at all these things. They're like very long-term data. You only get them once a month or sometimes once a quarter. So these are the kind of things I'm looking at to try and determine, hey, when could the top of this market be? Let's take a quick look at Dixie here. This thing is definitely looking like it wants to stop and reverse at some point. We've got, like, this is very clear divergence, positive divergence. It also in some ways could just be regarded as volatility dropping off. So, I mean, hypothetically, I would like to call this divergence because, you know, basically there was lower lows being made, even as higher lows were being made on the Z-score, while lower lows were being made for the price. It's kind of stopped and reversed here. Sorry, not stopped and reversed, but it kind of seems like it stopped, like the support is happening. Dixie has been kind of wild sometimes lately. Like it looks like it'll do something, then it does the opposite. Like right here, we looked and said, hey, this might come up. And then it just, for no reason, like there was a shooting star wick. And then when that happened, we said, all right, we're going to keep going down. I still kind of like expect to make some kind of wick down, you know, at some point. And actually, if we get a capitulation wick right there, that'll be a really good sign that it's time for the Dixie to start performing, which will also be simultaneously a good sign that we really need to think about getting out of the market. So I do feel like that time is approaching. It's getting closer. I have been also trying to entertain the potential that the markets could continue positive for longer than I thought. But we're also looking at things like the reverse repos, which are now in an uptrend. Like they're very clearly in an uptrend. So, you know, we thought, hey, maybe this thing could keep going down. It sort of formed this little bottoming pattern right here, and then it decided to start going up. So at this point, you know, I mean, we still want to watch this confirm, but if we kind of do something like that, there's a good chance this thing will start going up. That doesn't mean that stocks and crypto will start crashing immediately. We saw with the bear market that this thing was going up while stocks and crypto were going up. So there could be like a delayed reaction there. So just know that the signs are like starting to get a little bit unclear. Okay, so last thing I want to cover here is Bitcoin and Ethereum. So the thing with Bitcoin and Ethereum is that I think it makes more sense, or not more sense, but it makes a lot of sense now to look at them together. So I put them together. I put their market caps on the same chart. Right now, basically, we're still kind of in this channel, this upper channel. This should be a very familiar chart for everyone. Let's go to the daily first, actually. Daily. Okay. Yeah, so you got your bear market trend line. You got some of these like important areas of horizontal significance, right? That's the summer. That's the 2021 summer. So we're kind of just playing in that range. At this point, I don't think that we should really ever expect this line to get beaten. Maybe we come up here, we do some of that, but this thing is just grinding higher slowly. If price does spike up above that, be very suspicious, especially if all of our other indicators are starting to say like that, you know, that the end of this run could be near. So that would actually be, that would be perfect. Like that would be maximum opportunity to get some crazy spike above the resistance, along with all of our stuff like the Dixie and where were we? All of these different indicators that we were looking at, like the M2 is still going down. Maybe the balance sheet continues to go down. Maybe single family homes isn't looking so good, whatever, et cetera, with Dixie. Over here where Dixie is like making a clear rebound. That's where we kind of start looking at this and saying, okay, like this is a perfect confluence of a whole bunch of different things. That's a hypothetical. Just keep in mind that's totally hypothetical. So let's go to Bitcoin versus Ethereum specifically. Now, here's the reason why I think this is important for us to keep in mind. The market dynamics are changing, and I know I've been saying this for a long time. ETH is going to flip Bitcoin or gain parity with Bitcoin next bull market. Okay, whatever. The important thing here is that a massive stake unlock has been happening for the past 2 weeks now. And that was supposed to be the thing from all the maximalists that, finally crashes Ethereum right here. That's when the stake unlock happens. And they were like, oh, it's going to crash Ethereum and it's over. It's a shit coin and it's going down and Bitcoin will save us all and keep track of your car keys and make you coffee in the morning and everything else. Whatever. Anyways. I just can't help myself. Sorry. Anyways, so but that's not what happened. We saw this thing just take off to the upside. Maybe that was market maker support. There's kind of like this thing going on right here. We could also look at Z-scores. Z-scores are also trending positively. So to me, like there's still stake unlocks to happen over the next 2 weeks. Bitcoin is currently facing the United States government selling off a significant portion of what they have. So remember, they had the Silk Road coins, they had the Bitfinex hack coins. I think overall that was supposed to be 220,000 BTC. They sold 50,000 in March. And then it was, I think, just 3 or 4 days ago that coins were moving again from like Silk Road wallets and or Bitfinex hacker wallets. So yes, ETH has the stake unlocked, but Bitcoin has the United States government selling against it as well. So it looks to me like ETH is surviving this massive stake unlock, which had the maximum potential to sell off $1 billion of ETH. But was probably, I read kind of a long article about it, and I didn't really like only half understand it. Like I couldn't really verify the technicals, but he seemed pretty smart. So I said, all right, I'll just trust this guy. It seems like he put a lot of thought into it. So it seems to me that that ETH is surviving this event, and that like if they do, now that they are surviving this event, that bodes very well for them, right? Like if they can survive this selling pressure, and it's inherently selling pressure because if you've had your stake locked for like 2 years, some people have to sell. Like one of my friends told me one time, he says, listen, not everybody has to buy, but everybody will have to sell at some point, right? So the thing is that these people with their stake unlocked, some of them are going to need to sell. Life gets in the way, things happen. So to me, it just seems that Ethereum is now establishing itself. Proof of stake is viable, even if it's like, I don't know, people can argue about if it's centralized and terrible or not. That's fine. We can argue that. But it is surviving, and they are still getting OFAC transactions. I think they're up to like, they were at like 90% censorship, and now it's only like 60% censorship. I mean, that's not good, but you can still get an OFAC censored transaction on Ethereum faster than you can get a Bitcoin transaction. There's this kind of like broadening structure right here. So this chart is not out of the woods yet. Like ETH could still hypothetically break down from here, but at least it's not looking so potentially catastrophic like it was down here. It has a chance, right? It could maybe come up here and just kind of do that. I'm not saying that's exactly what it will do, but I am just saying that guys know that Ethereum is now a legit solid player in this market. 2 weeks from now, after the stake unlocks are finished, if it's continuing this uptrend, this overall sort of macro uptrend against Bitcoin, I mean, Ethereum is looking at gaining market cap parity, and it's got a lot of tokens built on top of it. It's got stable coins and shit coins, and they've got all this market cap. And yeah, a lot of that's fake, but some of that really should be included and integrated into ETH's market cap or considered as part of that. So by the time that Ethereum's close to gaining parity with Bitcoin, it really will have already flipped. And I don't think that's going to necessarily happen this summer or even this year, but I think the next bull market, especially if all this stuff with the SEC gets resolved, and they're kind of like attacking shitcoins, and they're trying to like say everything's a security, and really this is an attack against all of crypto. And I know maximalists don't like to hear that, but the simple fact is a government strong enough to destroy the shitcoins you hate will eventually be turned against Bitcoin or your own coin. So it's kind of like, I kind of compare it to the Tornado Cash. It's like Monero's better for privacy, but listen, we should fight the Tornado Cash battle. We should establish a wide moat far away from us. We should fight them over there, because that way we can establish our own legitimacy as beyond question. And so if Bitcoin really is that superior, and it's really going to like destroy shitcoins, then it can do it with market dynamics and outcompete them. It doesn't need a strong arm government to do it on its behalf, because that strong arm government will be used against you later. So just know that ETH is like already kind of gaining a certain kind of mental parity with Bitcoin, and you need to keep watching it. You need to really start integrating it into your analysis. So that's my rant on ETH. Sorry for spending so long on it today. But,
wow, super ETH bullish. No, I know we've been saying it for a long time, right? We've been having that kind of narrative on this show for a while.
Yeah,
I tend to agree. I mean, for all the reasons you're saying. So how do you? I mean, do you allocate a portion of your crypto to ETH?
I play a lot on ETH. I've got ERC20s here and there. I'm not going to lie, Link looks like something that is kind of integrated in a big way. Yes, I know it's centralized. I'm sorry, forgive me. Lord, forgive me, Lord, for I have sinned. So I have some Link. Probably just hang on to that long term. I might buy some Ethereum at some point. I've been holding some BTC as well, just because the dominance chart looks so good. But yeah, I mean, I think it's smart. Like, it's smart to probably hold ETH and Bitcoin as kind of like your dominance play, if you will. So here's the dominance chart for Bitcoin.
Monero only over here, despite despite all these all the logic.
You're a better man than me.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I mean, even this, like, I agree with you, right? So, like, if we'll see how things shake out with the SEC, and like, people in crypto shouldn't be rooting, like BTC Maxi shouldn't be rooting for the demise of Ethereum because the state attacks it and labels it an SEC. But at the same time, that is the reality, right? It has this attack surface, and I think that's a lot of the arguments that are made as to why Monero has such great value, right? Is because it has a less attack surfaces than these other cryptos, and I've including Ethereum and Bitcoin. You know,
yeah, for sure.
Labeling it as a security. I mean, I think Ethereum, Monero checks those boxes better than anybody else in my mind. The Howey test. I think Monero really. There's really no way to label Monero as a security. I could see the arguments being made for Ethereum, and then obviously, Bitcoin and Monero similarly. But I think that it's just another attack surface, right? States come in and attack it through regulation, whatever. Monero, Bitcoin's attack surfaces is a traceable ledger, so. I don't know. I see those as weaknesses. I see those as weaknesses. Not that I'm rooting for the state to take advantage of those weaknesses, but just being realistic. And I do agree with you, though. It makes more sense to fight those fights on those fronts, so the fight stays further away from Monero. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the fight has to be that we have something that the state can't stop, right?
Yeah, exactly. One thing that is maybe a little bit disconcerting is that even though Monero falls well outside of any arguments the SEC could make against it as being a security, they've got all the what do they call them? I don't know, just the money laundering arguments, right? Where the states, like, their attack vector is going to be like a whole different vector if they're going to try and attack Monero. And it does sound like they're trying, like the Eurozone is trying to prevent exchanges from holding any coins that are privacy enhancing, anonymity enhancing. Mm-hmm. So we kind of have our own separate battle there as well. And who knows, maybe this SEC attack is kind of a distraction against the privacy attack. Maybe that's what they really want to do is hit the privacy coins. Mm-hmm. By privacy coins, I mean Monero.
Good points, man. Good points. Epic price report, as always.
Thanks. Well, guys, we'll see you in Mexico City.
Yeah, man. We'll see you very, very soon. Very excited.
Let me know if there's anything. I'm bringing a projector with me. It's not very high resolution, but I'm going to bring it. And if there's anything else you guys need from me, just let me know. Printing up materials, etc.
Okay. Yeah, you don't have to trouble yourself with bringing a projector, man. I mean, don't inconvenience, because we ordered.
I'm driving, so it's no trouble.
The equipment. All right. Yeah.
You want to throw it in there? I don't know.
You want to pick up some other stuff?
Yeah, just hit me up. Just send me a list on Telegram, and I'll let you know what I can do.
What day do you get there?
I was actually planning on. I was gonna leave like maybe this weekend, but I don't know. I just decided to leave on Thursday. So
what do you
timing didn't work out.
Oh, okay.
But I'll be there Thursday night.
Okay. Sweet,
Okay, I get
sweet.
what you're saying. Okay. Oh, nice. All right, cool.
Yeah, that's when we arrive.
Yeah, that's
Actually,
when
we'll reach out to you. We have somebody.
We have a few people
The-
that are going to be out there
The liquor
beforehand.
situation is what we're trying to figure out. So basically, for the VIPs, we want an area where VIPs can go and essentially make their own drinks with their tumbler swag. So we're trying to figure that out. Maybe you could help us out with that. We just need somebody to help acquire the materials.
100%. It would be my pleasure to help with that aspect of it.
Awesome.
I'll bring my sunglasses from the last time as well.
I don't. Well, be careful.
Sneak into the VIP with my old sunglasses.
Oh my God, that's right. That's so funny.
All right, buddy.
All righty. All right. So we'll talk to you
guys.
offline. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Thank you. See you soon.
Bye. Oakley dokley. Let's move on to the dev segment. Woot woot.
And now for the Monero development segment.
Hello,
Hi.
hello.
Hey,
How's it going?
It's going pretty well. How y'all doing?
Good,
Good,
man.
good.
Good. We know NYM is patiently waiting. Thank you for patiently waiting. I think we just have dev section, and then we'll have special guests on after that.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the plan.
And then we have Arctic Mind as well, so we'll get
Yep.
them up here as
We'll
well.
get them on.
Sweet.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is going to be a really short dev section today. Probably one of the shortest. I was scrolling through Twitter. And I saw that the Trust Wallet had like a major exploit, and it isn't directly Monero related because Trust Wallet is a Binance wallet. I just want to do a quick overview about the dangers of like using a bad wallet and how important good development is and how important Monero's community is in building that. So it'll be really short dev sections today.
Okay. We'll
Awesome.
take it.
But yeah. Basically, Ledger Wallet, the same person who makes the hardware wallet, pretty much found a major exploit in Binance's Trust Wallet, and it's really bad. And if anyone uses this wallet, I think since they made this update, you should move your funds from it. But once again, it doesn't hold Monero, I believe, so you're good to go. I just want to give a cautionary tale of how important having good developers are, so you can thank our local or thank our Monero developers. Basically, the issue was in how the wallets generated the seeds, and the way that the Trust Wallet got its entropy was really wrong. It ended up pulling entropy that only gave it 32 bits, and if you're familiar with entropy, that's really bad. Most standards wallets are going to have at least 128. So this was not linearly bad, but just like exponentially terrible. You could fit all the wallets in like a text file. Really bad things.
Wow.
And then this was because of basically a library that they misused it. It was actually the wrong library. So the library only gave them 32 bits of security, which is really bad. And I could link to the write-up in the show notes after. But basically, it's very important to have a lot of eyes on your code. Being open source is required, but it's not enough. And it's really good that the team at Monero has a lot of developers who are looking at the code. The community is really big. A lot of people are looking at the code, so you're not going to get major bugs like this that are just obviously bad. So thankfully, Ledger found the bug. But an interesting thing is that at the end of this write-up, they say that when they were doing their research, they found other addresses that weren't created with the Trust Wallet that also had the bug. So I remember last week, Body talked about these exploits that people are experiencing, and people don't know where they're coming from. This could be related to that. So just keep your heads up if you're in the space. Use a well-trusted wallet, right? Something like, open source isn't enough. You have to have a good community behind it. And all of these wallets, Monero, GUI, Cake Wallet, are really legitimate, and they have a lot of devs looking at the software, and they're open source. So being open source isn't enough, but it's definitely required. I just want to give a big shout out to all the Monero devs. And this should put you make you appreciate all the work the Monero devs are doing, because we haven't had an exploit like this because the devs are very talented and they do a very good job at maintaining the different wallets and things like that. But yeah, I want to keep it short, and that's pretty much it for me.
Oh,
awesome.
wow.
No, that was great.
Short.
Great cautionary tale. I like that.
Yeah, I want to just keep it short. Yeah, I didn't want to take up too much time. I'm really excited to hear the
appreciation
NYM
for
and Arctic
the Monero devs.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's scary stuff, right?
Yeah.
The larger story of OG's wallets just getting drained. That's wild, right?
And we still don't know where it's coming from. No one's told me. I haven't saw on Twitter where the hack's coming from. So yeah, wallet security is very important.
Maybe the whole elliptic curve is, somebody figured something out, but they wouldn't want to drain.
Maybe.
Strategically, they wouldn't want to drain Satoshi's wallet because then Bitcoin just goes to zero. You'd want to slowly go after wallets, right? You don't want to crash the entire project, everybody lose hope in it. You would just steal crypto from here and there. Even if you figured out how to steal Satoshi's coins, you'd have to be an idiot to run and do that before you steal everybody else's. Wild stuff.
Yeah. I also want to say thank you to y'all. Yeah, y'all do a lot of work. I'm very excited for Monerotopia.
I know. We're
I'm excited to fly down. Yeah, it's
so excited.
I know.
Yeah,
it's fun. I'm looking forward to meeting. Because we have a lot of internet friends. At least now we'll see them in person.
And if we don't give you proper attention there, it's because we're busy. So let us just give you our proper attention now, man. Thank you
thank you.
You're the best. A great addition.
You came out of nowhere. You've been contributing a ton to this show. And and then just what you're doing outside of it too, man. Kudos to you for being
thank you so much.
Entrepreneur, man, and you're making progress. It's seen. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
We heart. All right, thank you. All right, so we'll see you next week. Then.
All right,
we'll see you then.
See you next week.
All right, bye.
Later.
Okay, so let's move on to our special guests. The Monerotopia guest segment is sponsored by Cake Wallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. Cake Wallet is open source, and you always control your own keys. Hello, Daniel.
Danielle, what's up, man?
Oh, you're muted.
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted. It mutes you.
That's done. Okay, hello.
How are you?
What's going on?
Thank you for
Thanks. Nice to meet you for the first time here. Yeah. So I am now at Rio de Janeiro, preparing for Web Summit activities, which start on next 1st May. And we are going to be here giving some speech. We have a little bit of space, and we're going to spend next days. And then I'm very happy to finish this event and travel to Mexico to go to my first Monerotopia event, which is really exciting for me.
Awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we're very excited to have you guys represented at Monerotopia. And so you're going to be running the workshop, right? The NYM workshop, teaching people how to essentially use the internet anonymously.
Yeah, I'm very happy about that because we are going to teach people not just how to use the internet anonymously, but also how to participate in that process. Yeah, how to be part of the community, which allows the people to get more privacy on the internet, being part of the MixNet network of NYM, which is, I don't know, we have time enough to talk about this, or
a little bit. Yeah, let's talk. Definitely, we've had we've had NYM on the show in the past, but yeah, let's get into it a little bit. Go ahead, go for it.
Well, so it's just basically we are creating a huge techno-political project to allow people to have more privacy on the internet. Like the internet is broken and there is a problem with the metadata leaks, which forbids the anonymity for the majority of the people. It's almost impossible to have real privacy on the internet. So we are trying to solve that using a MixNet, which is a kind of network of hundreds of computers that mix the packet and add some crypto layers, and we change the size of the packet, we alter the timing of the packets, then we mix them, and then we throw to the people. So it's very difficult to analyze that and to find which is talking with who. You cannot do that with patrons and so on. So people could be part of this MixNet and also take some rewards by actually using VPS server and connecting them to the MixNet and helping all the network to mix packets. And we have like something, it's called like proof of mixing. Then as much packets as you mix, as much rewards you can want. So we create like a ecosystem that economically supports all the mixnet nodes, and we distribute the security into this community. So it's very exciting. Also, we are working on creating our first zero knowledge validators, which still are not ready, but they will be very, very, very soon ready. And I think we are talking also in this workshop, we are going to teach the people how to use the mixnet, how to participate in the mixnet, and also how they can now be part of the delegators program, which we are running from 1 day ago. It's a program to help new mix nodes to get staking, because you cannot start mixing packets until a lot of people stake in your node some tokens. So you get trust from the network and then you can start mixing. But it's very difficult to start receiving staking. So we are going to launch, we launched yesterday a program to help the new mix nodes that are in underrepresented zones, for example, Mexico, which we only have, I think, like 3 to 5 mixed node. I have not the number right now, but it's like not more than 5. So the people that start to set up a mixed node in this country or in Costa Rica or in Ecuador or in Colombia, Brazil, mainly Africa and Latin America, we are going to have some meetings with them. We are going to read the proposals. And then we are going to make like a delegators program with an interestor, and also say to the community people that you must stake in these nodes because they have good quality and they need help to start to grow. Also because I love that there is more social projects in Latin America that usually there are in other regions. Like I came from Europe, for example. But for example, the mixed nodes that I'm starting to read, they have a lot of new social proposals to use some part of the money that they can get mixing packets to social local projects, like helping girls to enter to blockchain development or other local grassroots social programs that this community have here.
Yeah, you should. I know we spoke about this offline, but anything you could do to help continue to get the word out to, the Latin American community, the privacy tech, open source, FOSS community that Monerotopia is taking place in Mexico City. Please do, and we had that local ticket for, I think we were asking for like 500 pesos, and then there's a bunch of discount codes. People could basically, for less than $20, spend 3 days there. So yeah, please, if there's any like forums and stuff of locals that you think might find interest in this, maybe not even, they're into Monero, but they're into, free and open source software, like that crowd, please get the word out, because I think this is good. We're bringing communities together here with Monerotopia. Are you? How did you get into NYM, and are you involved in crypto as well outside of NYM?
Well, I came from the open source and hacktivist movement. I have been like almost 30 years there, mainly in Spain, but last almost 20 years here in Latin America. So I know a lot of people from the open source and free software community in Mexico and Venezuela and Colombia, Chile, so on. The people of that communities, it's still not convinced about the crypto world because are very social people that are connected to very social local fights for changing some local problems about corruption, about lack of support for new technologies in their spaces. So I didn't came from the crypto movement, but more from the cypher movement, more connected to the cypherpunk history of the battle. I'm trying to analyze how we can use these technologies for the social and the common goods. Like we need to create a new spaces where we can think about how to improve these technologies so we can make them be useful for people who really need some support there. Like, for example, if we can see how to connect the crypto world to the universal basic income will be a fantastic movement there.
Oh, I don't know. It gets a little on scary grounds there. I don't know. We're not going to use WorldCoin for that, are we?
Yeah, it's not this, but we need to start to think about this. Like I have no the solution, but I have the discussion, and we have the needs of the people of some another kind of use for the crypto systems, which is more accessible for a lot of people because currently in Latin America, the percent of the people who choose crypto is very low still due to a lot of factors. It's not only a problem about speculation or whatever. It's just there is regions that have very not well internet connections, or people have no laptops or enough material to access and to have this knowledge. So there is a lot of steps that we need to do to increase the use in the region of these technologies, but also you must think that here the people think in a very different way than in other regions. This is not Asia, this is not Europe, this is not the United States, this is Latin America. The people here is very connected to the ground and to social activities, and if we don't find spaces to think about this with these guys, probably we are going to be very late and we are going to be very slow. So Monerotopia, I think it's a nice place to start thinking about this. So I will try to invite a lot of people and try to move the information so we can have this discussion there. Of course, they are like afraid of these technologies by the moment because all they hear about this is about financial speculation and things like that. They don't need. They didn't still know about DAOs. They didn't know still about solar punk, lunar punk, and the possibility of organizing between borders and between countries and between regions and make some activities together. They still don't know this. So it's some time ahead that we are going to go step by step, creating these spaces to have these discussions and making them give some little steps inside and start to think how this technology could really help to change some local problems we have here.
What is your talk going to be on at Monerotopia?
Well, I'm going to. I think I'm going to present NYM as a project, like a solution. I'm not sure still if you know that Alexis Russell is going to come with me.
Okay.
So I need to talk with Alexis because probably if he would like to give the speech, it would be fantastic because he's one of the founders of the project and he knows very well.
Okay.
And I can focus on the workshop and how to use this network. I'm actually the head of growth for Latin America at NYM.
Yes, so maybe sorry to interrupt, but yeah, the workshop is going to be amazing, and you could do it in you could talk in English and obviously, and you could talk in Spanish. Hopefully, we'll have some Spanish attendees that will come, like noobs that will come and want to learn about these things. That's our hope, right? So that's very cool.
I hope to talk just in Spanish.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll have Andreas from Monero, who's going to be talking in Spanish as well. He's going to give his talk in Spanish. He's going to do a Monero 101 in Spanish.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm tempted to say like maybe you guys should both, but I don't think we'd have room for you guys both to talk. But maybe if your other partner does the talk on NYM, maybe you can then at least say some words in Spanish too for like 5-10 minutes after, just to kind of re-explain things to the local attendees as well.
Yes, I think it's very important to talk about these technologies in the local language. People understand it much better. And they appreciate it a lot, not only here. For example, we are now in Brazil. I speak a little Portuguese, So I try to not speak English. I try Portuñol, that is like a mix between Portuguese and Espanol, and they appreciate it a lot. When you start trying to talk their language, they are very happy, and they told you that I prefer this than English. So I will be not only giving my workshop in Spanish, and if Alexis give the NYM presentation, I will speak previously 5 minutes in Spanish, but also I can help you to translate in other workshops or whatever. I'm very happy to help you with that.
Yes, we're excited for that. We'll have a couple of Spanish speakers. Awesome, man. Which is essential to have. Thank you so much, man. I think we're gonna jump and do the news real quick.
Yeah, it's only like 10 minutes long. It's pre-recorded.
Okay.
So
can you stick around for a little bit, and then we're gonna bring up Arctic Mine, and then we can continue the convo with Arctic Mine.
For sure, I will be here.
Awesome.
All right, awesome.
Cheers.
So we're just gonna quickly do the news.
Thank you.
Just
Thank you, man.
stay.
Please stick around.
Stick around.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Oakley dokley. Let's move on to the news. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. The Monerotopia weekly news segment is sponsored by iVPN. Use a VPN to help prevent your online activity from becoming a permanent record. iVPN encrypts your data and DNS requests so your ISP or mobile network provider cannot monitor or log your online activity. Purchase an iVPN service today anonymously with Monero.
Or good night, whatever.
There you go.
Right now, it's time for the news section. But before we begin, because we have a lot of interesting stuff to talk about, make sure that you buy your tickets if you haven't for Monerotopia 2023, which is going to be next week in Mexico City. You use code Tony and you're going to get a discount. Now let's get into the news section. So this is a pie chart based on the first week of enabling XMR purchases via Payfura. And this is the percentage of XMR purchased by country. So number one is Sweden, number two is UK, and they account for half of the transactions. So over half, 56.8%. Then there's China, number three, Denmark, France, Ireland, Austria, Australia, Slovakia, and Brazil. So very interesting that Sweden and the UK account for 56.8% of the transactions. Then Cake Wallet had an update. Monero.com had an update. You have a way to easily restore wallets from QR code, which is very nice. A new on-ramper buy widget, a type of fiat amount in the receive screen. Bitcoin lighting invoices in exchange, substantially better reliability for seeing incoming unconfirmed Bitcoin account transactions. So a lot of stuff. So make sure that you update your Cake Wallet, your Monero.com wallet, and use it. I updated mine, so it's all ready to go. Now I want to mention, or I want to show you guys the video of a farmer in France and selling his beautiful vegetables and nutritious vegetables for Monero. Scan his Cake Wallet, boom, paid, peer-to-peer, vegetables, done, he left. That's it. If you can do that, if you can purchase your groceries or whatever you want to buy peer-to-peer, which will be nice and ideal. And I try. And one time I was able to buy coconut water with Dog and Sanita in Miami, which is very, very nice. Peer-to-peer, that was before the gift cards. But now you have gift cards. So you can purchase a gift card via the app, and you can purchase whatever you want. You can go to Adidas, you can buy groceries, you can buy prepaid Visa, you can do a lot of stuff. Nike, whatever. It's really nice. Then let's discuss, let's get into surveillance now. So basically the US wants to pass a bill in which your social media apps, whatever you use to message your friends and family, that's going to be tied to the Drug Enforcement Administration. And this is in the name of catching illegal drug sales, right? A lot of people, they joke about using drugs. Maybe they talk about past drug usage. I don't think there's a lot of people that, from all the people that talk on these apps, that actually are selling the drugs. With that being said, them being a minority, with what I think, they're using this as an excuse to crack down on your privacy and to basically just spy on what you're reading, because they're not going to just stop at, oh, cocaine. Okay, let's go on that conversation. Oh, that's interesting. Why they're saying that? I mean, it's not ideal, and they're using this excuse. So they want to surveil your communications with other people. Then they want to surveil your finances. So US regulator says that crypto must end anonymity for illicit finance. First of all, there's only one that is really anonymous, which is Monero. The other ones are not really anonymous, especially because everybody buys them on Coinbase, so they're directly tied. They're pseudo-anonymous, like Bitcoin, Dogecoin, whatever, but they're tied to your identity, social security number, passport, all this stuff. So, it's really just Monero, because they can crack all the other ones down, chain analysis and all these companies. They can track you down, and they're doing very well at it. So yeah, but essentially, they don't want you to have privacy. Now the EU and the US are working on regulations on crypto, of course, to make it safe, again, for illicit activities, blah blah, which of course I don't want any illicit activities to happen in the world, all the bad stuff, trafficking and all this stuff. It's horrible. Of course, nobody wants it, but they're using that as an excuse to just surveil your whole life, your messaging, your finances, and then what's next? Your house. They're gonna put 1984, in which you're gonna have cameras in your house so they can see if you're doing anything illegal in your own house, like growing weed or whatever, right? I hope it's not gonna come at that point, because that'll be crazy. But people are still gonna comply. Probably they're gonna say, "Oh yeah, it's to catch bad guys," right? But in the same time, you have handcuffs all the time. The EU is doing actually pretty good when it comes to regulation compared to the US. They've been working on MiCA since 2020, so it's been a couple of years. So they're working very hard towards it. But there's one Article 68 that raises concerns. What is Article 68? Article 68 essentially addresses the rules for operating a trading platform for crypto assets, right? Essentially, the trading platform shouldn't allow holders of the assets to have built-in anonymization, which is horrible for businesses and individuals, because as a business, you want to have your practices private. You don't want anybody to see how much you pay your employees, what you do with your money as a business. That shouldn't be a thing. And also as an individual, nobody should really see what you do unless you tell them to, right? Yeah, so this article from Forbes is talking about privacy. It's a concern that MiCA is not going to really address, and they're going to make it so that people are going to think, okay, well, I'm just might as well use the digital euro, unless, I guess, you want to escape inflation, then you'll turn to crypto or some cryptos. But other than that, it's just going to be like a digital surveillance system, and crypto is not really a revolution anymore, unless something like Monero, which is not on a lot of trading platforms. And I wonder if it's going to be the platform on Kraken eventually. In Kraken UK, you can't buy it anymore, but yeah. Let's talk about Bitcoin privacy war. I'm not going to get into details on this because obviously it's a very long discussion, and we'll be talking about it for a long time, but I'm just going to summarize. Basically, there's two wallets, Samurai and Wasabi wallet, right? And they have different practices, but they both have their problems. Wasabi, they decided to blacklist transactions. So what level of privacy do you really have? Not full privacy. And Samurai, they have their issues as well, such as not enabling the Tor tool by default, so you need to flip the switch. If the user doesn't know about that, you can expose your IP address with Samurai wallet. So they both have their issues. They've both been going at each other. They both implement new things. People don't like it, take it back, whatever. Very, very long discussion. If you want to read this article or any other articles that we have discussed today, you can go in the description and see it for yourself. But yeah, it's a very long discussion, but it's very interesting. And I wonder how Bitcoin's privacy is going to evolve over time, and where it's going to be, and what level of privacy are you going to get. But Monero is standing as the standard for ultimate privacy, protecting absolutely everybody, every single person. Let's talk about Hamas. Hamas is basically, I guess it's a Palestinian militant group. I'm not sure if it's it's listed as a terrorist organization by the US and UK. Okay, so terrorist organization according to their standards, but they are not accepting Bitcoin donations anymore. They used to, because they want to protect the donors, and we've seen what happened to Canada. They identified the people that donated and went after them. So they care about the people, they care about the donors, and they're not accepting Bitcoin transactions anymore. In 2021, Israeli officials seized 84 digital wallets suspected of belonging to Hamas. Then they had Bitcoin Doge, basically not Monero. But if they do learn about Monero, they can use Monero and accept Monero donations, and nobody would even know. So that's the beautiful part. Last thing that I want to discuss is European bankers on digital euro. The ECB has no interest in users' personal data, which is a lie, because they do have interest in users' personal data. You can go back to earlier episodes where we talked a little bit about their vision of privacy in the ECB, and they basically said, we'll have privacy, but not really. I mean, we'll still be able to see everything that you do. But the private banks raise questions to these new systems. So you have the banks versus the government. So this is what the article talks about. The central bank digital money could threaten the traditional bank's business model by competing with their collection activity and disrupting their financial capacity. They should therefore not consider the provision of digital euro services as a sort of obligation, but should explore the economic potential by developing, competing for creative solutions. Basically, banks don't like it. They say they should use it they should limit it as a payment, but not really as a store of value. So very interesting how the banks and the governments are going head to head. We had an article about Russia and their banks versus the government going head to head, essentially not really agreeing. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting development, and they do have an interesting. So the ECB does have an interest in your personal data, and you're not going to have much privacy. You read the legislation and everything for yourself that Christine Lagarde put up, and we've discussed in earlier episodes. So yeah, this was a new section, but before we end it, let's actually go to Monerotopia.com, guys. This is the last time we're gonna do it, which is crazy. It's been a year. It's been a year since last year's conference, but it's gonna be on. My phone is not here. May 5th through May 7th, and it hasn't been loading. I know we've been getting DDoS attacks for the past 3 days, which is crazy. People don't want us to succeed, but we are gonna succeed. Okay, it's working. Good. Okay, now it's working, kind of, sort of. The images are not loading, but that's okay. So you add to cart, you view the card, guys. This is the last thing that I'll mention. And you put Tony, then you apply the coupon, and you still get 21% off, $78. It's next week. Make sure you buy it. Make sure you go. We have a lot of people. But yeah, this was the news section, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you, I think, next week. But I mean, next week is going to be crazy, so we'll see. Bye.
Yeah, that's funny. He recorded it last night.
He recorded it last night, which is
having
when
issues with the website
again last night. So that is proof. Something happened with the images, but anywho's, it's all up and running.
That was because we tried to make the website more efficient. We were anticipating we might get hit with more visitors, and effectively we had messed it up, and we ended up screwing something up.
Okay.
But it was only a few hours, and now it's all fixed.
It's all fixed. All right, let's move on to the viewers on stage segment, so we can bring
let's do it.
The gang up. All righty, let's do that. It's the viewers on stage segment. It's that time where we invite you, the viewers, up on stage to comment on anything you've heard so far today, ask the guest a question, or maybe talk about one of the news topics. Come on down.
All right.
My cheesy segment.
All right.
Hi.
How's it going, man?
Hi.
How are you? We're looking forward to seeing you next week.
I definitely am looking forward to Monerotopia.
Awesome.
I'm actually going to be a bit early in Mexico City. I'm going to be flying in the evening of the 2nd.
Beautiful.
Nice.
So I'll have a couple of days. And by the way, if you need any help before the show, feel free to contact me.
Oh, thank you for that.
Thank you.
So that's there. I'm taking a couple of days off, just a little chill a bit, and then get ready for the conference.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Have you ever been to Mexico City?
Yes, once in my life. I was 11 years old in 1968.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah. So it's been a while.
Different world.
It's been a while.
Been a while since I've been there. So yeah, but I do remember something about Mexico City.
You have memories, so that's good. That's good.
Wow. Yeah. I'm sure a lot has changed since then. You're going to be probably.
Yes. I remember it. I think some things haven't changed. The altitude is quite interesting. It's quite high up on the mountain. The pollution is a lot better than then.
Yes.
Yeah.
They've really cleaned it up.
Yeah, and
It's really nice,
the
huh?
Roma district where the conference is just really nice. It's like a really nice area. It's like so clean, right?
Yeah.
We're impressed by like we're from New York. I mean, New York is dirtier than Mexico City. I mean, the Roma district of Mexico City is beautiful. They really do a good job.
Some cities take a pride in cleaning up, and Madrid is another example that does that quite a bit.
Yes.
And we'll see, but that makes it really nice. It does do a lot actually, and it's actually good also from a grant perspective. If you create that cleaner environment, it does a lot for that too.
Of course. We should mention too, you're going to MoneroCon too, obviously, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
And I'm going to be speaking there also. And a kind of the talk that I'm presenting in Monerotopia is some of the basis of some of what I'm going to be presenting in MoneroCon.
Very cool. Okay.
So it's kind of planned that way.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will be at MoneroCon as well. Very excited for that. They teamed up. They reached out to us. They added our virtual conference ticket to the sales
like a
of
bundle.
as a bundle if you want to add it. So that was very nice of them. We appreciate that. That was awesome. But yeah, we're excited for MoneroCon. Daniel I think NYM is participating in MoneroCon too, right?
Yeah, there will be NYM people there. We sent a nice team. I don't remember right now, but it's who's in charge of that part. But they are going to be like 2 people there also. So
Beautiful.
It's nice.
It's going to be back-to-back
It's going to be a
Monero fun.
tense month of 2 months of Monero, right? It's like it all happens at once.
Well, NYM loves Monero, so for us to,
Back-to-back Monero fun.
Yeah. Arctic, anything you want to bring up in terms of what's going on and what's up on these days?
Well, yeah, I there's a couple of things that really strike me, and one of them is that I think we're under threat in a big way, under attack, and I agree with a lot of the speakers on this issue. Primarily, but it's not necessarily from the state. It is primarily from a private sector, and specifically, say, the blockchain surveillance companies. Mm-hmm. I really take issue with the idea that companies like Chainalysis can reliably trace Bitcoin. In fact, I don't think they can. And there is a very, very high error rate, which they hide. There is a lot of evidence out there that asks a lot of questions. Just because you don't have privacy, you do not have reliable surveillance. And this makes it very, very dangerous, in my opinion, to use Bitcoin because it's actually quite straightforward to frame people with this blockchain surveillance chain analysis that's going on. When we mention, for example, the example of Section 28 in the European regulations, we wrote to that back in the Monero policy group in 2021 in the fall. And they raised a lot of the concerns, and they basically ignored it. And they ignored it, in my view, because they listened to the lobbying of the blockchain surveillance companies, who have done a really good job of convincing regulators that they can insulate people from criminal activity, when in fact they cannot. And I kind of really agree with Body Anarchist on this point, that we have to take the fight not at Monero, but further down the street. And we have to take the fight when it comes to blockchain surveillance to the reliability of blockchain surveillance of coins such as Bitcoin. I think Ethereum, the idea that you can do it on Ethereum is even less viable because of the sheer mass of that blockchain. Blockchain surveillance scales as a factorial. I know I study scaling. Because essentially what you're doing is you're choosing k objects out of n objects, k outputs out of n objects. That's basically the binomial coefficient, where k are the tainted, and then it's a total number of outputs. You've got something like Ethereum, and realistically, blockchain surveillance is even less reliable on that chain. And in many ways, I see these companies eventually going to get pinned down, bogged down in their own failure on chains such as Bitcoin, and especially Ethereum, and Monero can go in and at the end deliver the coup de grace. But the fight is also important because there's a really strong risk of being falsely accused. And it's very easy for a criminal or terrorist organization to implicate the innocent with blockchain surveillance. And we even demonstrated in one of our submissions to the EU how easy, trivially easy it is to do that. All you do actually is you transfer private Bitcoin keys off chain, or you steal them and then you pretend you're somebody else, and then you divert the taint to a different, perfectly innocent individual who happened to spend Bitcoin at a merchant, for example, and the merchant gets compromised. So that's kind of what we're dealing with here. Unfortunately, I think this is going to be a big fight. This is not going to be an easy fight. A good example of what's coming on the table is, of course, the case that the Bitcoin fraud case, and I think it was mentioned at one point in the past. I don't know if they're going to be speaking at Monerotopia.
Yes, they are.
Well, that's a very critical case because it goes to the very fundamental issue of the reliability of blockchain surveillance on Bitcoin and the false accusations. You look at the issue of false accusations, and it's a fight across every culture, every legal system. For example, we had a case in Dubai where they were talking about restrictions on privacy, again, because of blockchain surveillance. And I'll give you an example, a totally different legal system. Their legal system is based on Sharia law. Well, Sharia law has some fairly strict punishments for making false accusations, which is essentially what these companies are doing. Yet they still manage to lobby the authorities to restrict, and not completely ban, but restrict the use of Monero in Dubai, which is part of the United Arab Emirates. So we have very different legal systems. We have essentially the same problems. So anyway, that's kind of my thought on this. There's a couple of other comments. I feel that we as a cryptocurrency have to deliver the goods. And one of the reasons why we are not getting the support in many communities is because we simply are not delivering it. Bitcoin has failed completely at doing this. You can't expect to have large-scale adoption in rural parts of South America, for example, if you cannot deliver the transactions on chain. And that basic failure of Bitcoin, I think, lies at the heart of some of the responses that are seen in that environment. And Monero can do it. It's going to take some time because of technology, but we have to be prepared to support large transaction flows on chain. Anyway, that's kind of my thoughts.
Beautiful, beautiful. Love hearing from you. I know you've been voicing a lot of these things for a long time. I just think it takes a long time for people to fully grasp. You're way ahead in kind of thinking of, where things are headed and how the ecosystem is going to play out in terms of chain analysis, and obviously the larger crypto system and Monero in particular. I'm thinking, I know you're obviously going to give a talk down at Monerotopia. We'd love to have you on we're going to have a kind of future Monero tech panel. Just want to have a bunch of devs there kind of just talking about the future of Monero, where we see things headed. But then we're thinking of maybe also having a panel on this topic of chain analysis, and maybe we can get you on there with the Bitcoin fog guys, and we can have a nice little conversation. Might be able to add one or two other people that would make sense for that.
Absolutely, I'm available for anything like that. So just let me know. I am totally available on that time over there for whatever is appropriate.
Beautiful. Nim and Den, any comments on that from your from how you view things? I don't know if you've obviously you're in the NYM world, but I don't know if you've been following chain analysis closely, and curious how you see those things shaking out. We obviously talk about this all the time on Monerotopia, right? So Monero is built to essentially be untraceable, but just curious how you see that ecosystem playing out of the state using being in bed with basically with chain analysis companies in an effort to track and trace people's transactions and where that's all headed.
Well, I think it would be nice if Alexis could talk about this. He has more deep knowledge on this question. But this is a personal point of view, is that, well, it's not a personal point of view. I think NYM is more oriented to lunar punk.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we are on that way, and we are supporting that kind of line of work. So we agree that the blockchain surveillance is a problem for a lot of things and for the privacy of a lot of people, and we work on that. Basically, we are doing a network to allow people to be on that side. I think it's important. Mainly also and this, yes, is personal, if you look for a geopolitical point of view, world is controlled or the status quo is maintained by two pillars that are the military one and the financial one. So the financial one is also based on control of the information of the financial assets and movements in the world, in the pyramids of the power of the money, in the local banks, central banks, intermediary banks, and finally New York, control of the financial system. So I fully agree on going out on dark fight, but this is going to be a very hard fight, and it's going to have a lot of people hurt in the middle. So let's talk about this on the Monerotopia meeting. There it will be fantastic to talk about this. I think Alexis have incredible perspective of this point also to share with you there.
Yes, awesome. Yeah, looking forward to talking to Alex in person. Guys, I think we are going to close it out here today just because we got a lot on our plate and we have non-Monero family things we need to balance in addition to buttoning things up in these final moments. It's just nonstop. Is there anything you gentlemen want to bring up before we close it out here today? Anything you want to put out to the Monero community?
Well, there's another thing I was going to mention when we talk about surveillance and privacy. I'm a really strong believer that we need to be looking right at our own homes, our own devices, as opposed to necessarily the network. It's interesting. I had this question when I gave a talk I was on a panel in Kiev in 2017, actually. And the question that was asked to me is, how do we prevent surveillance? How does the network prevent surveillance, the Monero network, against, quote, and this is the quote, the Ukrainian KGB, unquote. And my response is focus on your device. The surveillance is a lot easier to surveil a device. We are allowing microphones into our homes. It's called smart speakers. We are allowing cameras into our homes. Yes, we are, because we have a laptop with a camera that's controlled by proprietary software and DRM, and we have no knowledge of what that software is doing. So we can do a lot. We're using proprietary applications, which can then be told by the government to surveil. It's a lot easier to go after an Apple or a Google or a Facebook than it is to go after decentralized open source software, for example, in a country in the United States. So we need to start to take a really hard look at the products and services that we voluntarily agree to buy and the surveillance they bring with us. Focus on open source software, free libre open source software, free software, say no to DRM, say no to protective content. And, the cable company asked me, do you want voice remote? And I said, under no circumstances would I want to have a speaker, a microphone I don't control in my own home. And I told them bluntly no. I don't want that technology. And that's the kind of decisions we have to make in the marketplace to deal with this type of surveillance. Because it's not the government forcing. People are voluntarily signing on to these smart speakers. They're voluntarily signing on to surveillance.
They're opting
On
in.
a big scale. We are realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we need to take the fight. So there is also, we can do a lot ourselves just by what we do.
Totally agree. Yeah, people, we always say, right? People are opting into dystopia, right? Whether it's social media, Facebook, or, the putting these Amazon speakers in your homes, it's all out of convenience, and it's really hard to fight that. And so there's really only two ways. One way is through education, letting people realize what it is, what the actual cost is, what they're actually giving up in return for that convenience, right? What they're actually losing. And the second is building tech that can compete with what they're offering, but where the end result is they don't lose their liberty, right? And that it becomes a no-brainer. Like, why use this when I can use this? Monero, I think, being the perfect example, right? Like, why use Venmo, PayPal, even the current banking system, as convenient as it may be, if I can use something like Monero, and especially if it gets to the point where using it effectively becomes the easier thing to do. So I think that's the second place where we win that battle, is through building technology that provides those services in a way where people don't sacrifice their liberties, but it's just as convenient.
But we have to think, I mean, for example, just paying cash rather than using a credit or a debit card for smart transactions.
Mm-hmm.
I actually attribute a lot of my financial success to saying no to Apple. Bluntly, saying no to Apple. Because a lot of people in the Monero community don't realize this, but from 2009 to 2014, Apple censored Bitcoin on iOS. So you had people like myself, and I'll be blunt about this, who are buying Bitcoins for like $6 Canadian, or less, sticking them on their self-custody wallets on free Libre open source software. And I know the term, and people like to say it, and then waited until Apple gave their users on iOS permission to buy Bitcoin. And by that time, Bitcoin might have been $1,000 or $500. Turn around, sell those Bitcoins at 100-fold profit, and buy Monero with the proceeds. And then stick the Monero on the same free software. Well, let's get real here. I mean, you make a financial choice. You make a choice to say bluntly no to Apple, and you create a lot of wealth in the process just by saying no to the end user license agreement. That's my personal experience.
Very good point.
So I mean, yes, it's convenient. I think we have to sort of ask the hard questions. You have to read these agreements. They're incredibly one-sided agreements, legal agreements. And it's a very liberating to think I don't agree on the end user license agreement.
Very, very good points. Very good points. Daniel, anything you want to throw in there?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I think it's Arctic Mine is a mine of knowledge about Bitcoin.
Thank you.
I prefer to finish with his words.
Well, we're very excited to be hanging out with both of you guys in the next 5 days. Super excited, and everybody else that's going to be down there. Thanks for jumping on today. Arctic, can't wait to hang out. Daniel, can't wait to hang out.
Thank you.
Love the fact that, just like even you two, for example, are going to be having in-person chats, right? Like a big part of the value of Monerotopia is just getting everybody together and letting minds merge.
I really look forward to that.
Awesome, man.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right. And we're saying it to everybody, Arctic, if we don't give you the proper attention there, please know how much we greatly appreciate you, man.
You guys are doing a phenomenal job.
But we're gonna be
I understand that.
Just want to say that to everybody,
you and attending, yeah.
Yes, and you too, Daniel. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate you helping out with the workshop and doing the talk and bringing the Spanish interpretation. Greatly appreciate that.
Which will be helpful.
Happy.
All right,
guys. Thank you, guys.
We are going to close it out this week. We're not going to jump into the spaces.
Yeah.
We are going to head out. Thank you so much.
All right. We'll see you next week in Mexico City.
Cheers.
Bye bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Arctic.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us on this week's Monerotopia episode. We stream live shows every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can find and subscribe to our show on YouTube and Odyssey, or listen to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or join us in the Monerotopia Telegram group. See you all next week.